Hello and welcome to our first restorative practice during this social distancing time. I wanted to be able to offer something to some of my students and friends, a practice that they can do at home, that you can do at home without needing all this fancy stuff. I mean, obviously I'm a yoga teacher, so I have these props at home, but if you don't, use blankets, towels, pillows, books, anything that you have around the house. So you don't need anything fancy. But if you happen to have a couple of blankets like these, maybe a bolster like I'm sitting on, maybe a couple of blocks. But like I said, if you don't have these things, use things from around your house. Maybe you have a nice cup of tea. I have some nice green tea, peppermint, and some water just in case. It's always nice to stay hydrated. It's very important to stay hydrated during this time. I'm also going to be using a little bit of oil. So if you have oil, maybe take a drop in your hand. I'm using Balance from doTERRA. It's very grounding. Take one drop in between the palms, rub the palms together, cup your hands around your nose and mouth, and inhale. Let it go. Again, inhale. Exhale, one more time. Inhale. And exhale. And let's take a few opening rounds of breath here. Maybe placing one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, connecting your body and breath for a moment here. Maybe closing your eyes if that feels okay. Going inward for a moment. Maybe feeling your heart beneath your hand on your chest. And as you inhale, feeling your belly expand with air. And then exhale, letting it all go. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath just like that. Inhaling through the nose. Filling the chest, filling the belly. And exhale, release. And one more, inhale through the nose. And exhale through the nose. If for whatever reason, maybe you have some congestion, you have a little bit of a cold, please feel free to breathe through your mouth. As long as you are breathing, you are practicing yoga, okay? So that's pretty much one of the most important things in our asana practice. So we will get set up for our first shape. It's going to be a restorative pose. All of the poses are going to be restorative. These are all meant to calm and soothe your nervous system. I figured that would be the best practice since we're all kind of maybe a little on edge and we might be feeling a little overwhelmed. We might be feeling a little panic and fear. And these poses are meant to drop you out of your nervous system, into the heightened nervous system, into your parasympathetic nervous system. So we are encouraging the relaxation response. So with that being said, we'll set up. I'm going to take my block, because I have blocks, one on the tallest height, maybe one on the medium height. Move some of this stuff out of the way. Like I said, you can use books, you can use blankets and pillows. So I'm just going to drape that over just like that, making a little bit of a ramp. This is what we call a supported butterfly. So sitting right in front of the bolster, bring the soles of your feet together. I like to use a blanket for support. You can use towels or extra blankets you have at home. And I roll it up, place it over the tops of my feet, and then tuck the tails so it's supporting my shins. And then gently, carefully lower yourself down onto your pillows or your bolster, whatever you have. And then allowing the heart to open. So arms come out to the side. Maybe you place the hands on your belly, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And take a few breaths here, allowing your body to relax into this shape. Letting that heart open. We're also allowing some stretch in the inner groins. You might feel some sensation on the outside of your hips. Maybe some sensation going on in the chest as you spread across your collarbones. Just let your arms be heavy. Let your legs feel heavy, especially if they're being supported by something. Just allow the props to do the work here. And maybe you stay here for a few minutes. You can set a timer. And then when you're ready to come out, bring your hands to the outsides of your thighs and then gently bring your legs back together. Carefully push yourself off of your bolster or your pillows. Coming back up. Good. And then maybe just take a moment there to assess how you feel. Like I said, you could stay there for 5-10 minutes. This is one of my most favorite shapes. This reclined supported butterfly shape. It's just so juicy and yummy. I could probably stay there for 25 minutes. So take a breath here. Notice how you feel. Maybe just do a couple cat-cows in this seated position. So inhale forward, exhale rounding, doming the upper back. Again, inhale, reaching the heart and chest forward. Exhale, rounding the back. And one more, inhale forward. And exhale, rounding, pulling the navel in towards your spine. Okay. All right, and then carefully remove the structure off of your mat. For the next shape, it's a supported child's pose. So you're probably going to use a blanket or a pillow or many blankets. So see if you can snuggle that bolster in between the knees. So get it nice and close. If you feel like your sit bones are just hovering, maybe you have something going on with your hips, you have tight hamstrings, the quads are tight, and you're just kind of like this, feel free to take a blanket or a towel and place it behind the calves to support. You always want to feel supported, especially when we're doing these restorative poses. We really want to feel comfortable because we might be here for a few minutes at a time. And then take another towel or another blanket at the head of your bolster or pillow. And then gently place your hands down and then walk yourself down. Maybe again, snuggle that bolster in close and turn your head one way and relax. Again, maybe you're staying here for 5 to 10 breaths, maybe a few minutes. And breathing. Again, this is a very, you can stay there. This is a very calming pose. We're lengthening the spine. We're getting a nice stretch to our quads. And we're lowering our blood pressure. We are in this nice, calm, relaxing, restorative pose. So feel free to stay here as long as you wish. This is a supported child's pose. And then wherever your halfway mark is, make sure you turn your head the other way and stay there for the same amount of time. It's always good to have a timer with you when you're doing some of these restorative poses, especially if it's side to side. You want to make sure you're spending equal amounts of time on each side. So to come out, you gently walk your hands back, using your arms and hands to support you as you make your way out. And then again, of course, always being mindful of your props, moving them out of the way. We don't want the props to injure us, right? So move those out of the way. Maybe you need a little bit of stretch after that. So maybe you stretch one leg back and then bring it down and then stretch the other leg back. Sometimes our legs can get a little cramped in some of these shapes. So there's always a little bit of movement in between each shape. Maybe a few cat-cows. And cat-cows are so great for the spine. If this is the only shape you make in the day, it's a great shape. Good. And then we'll get set up for our last pose before we head to Shavasana. So this pose can be done next to a wall. I didn't want to move everything in the camera, so I decided to just use a block underneath my low back. So it's gonna look something like this. You're gonna come carefully onto your mat. Have your block close by, or a book, whatever you're using. You can even use like multiple blankets if that would feel better. Something a little softer. This can be a little hard, but I'm pretty used to these cork blocks and even the wood ones. They feel really nice on my back. So again, gently lower yourself onto your back. Knees are bent, feet are firmly on the ground, and then gently push into your feet to lift your hips, and then slide that block underneath your low back onto the lowest height. So it's not the tallest height, it's not the medium height, it's the lowest height. So slide that underneath your low back. And then very gently begin to bend one knee in towards your chest and straighten that one leg. And then the other knee into the chest and straighten. So like I said before, this pose can be done against a wall, depending on how tight the hamstrings are. If you can get your sit bones all the way to the wall and extend the legs up. If the hamstrings feel a little bit tighter, you can move your bottom a little bit further away from the wall. Like I said, I didn't want to move everything around to show you the shape, but this is the general pose. So this is called Viparita Karani, legs up the wall. If you have no wall, you can use a block. This is also kind of like a supported shoulder stand, but not so much work with the arms and the upper back. And you can maybe even allow the feet to point and flex. You can take the legs out wide if you're against the wall, or maybe even not against the wall. You don't have to be against the wall for this shape. Maybe butterfly, so the soles of the feet come together. If you notice that there's any numbness or tingling, come out of the pose. So you bend your knees into your chest, lower them back down to the earth. And take a few mindful breaths here, in and out of your nose. And then if you're on a block, gently push up the hips to remove the block, and then gently lower back down to the earth. And maybe you hug the knees in towards your chest, a slight rocking side to side. And then extend one leg, and then the other. Taking up as much space, so spreading the feet out wide. Arms come away from the body, getting ready for Shavasana. Closing your eyes, going inward. Relaxing all of your muscles. Rocking your head a little side to side. And finding that just right spot on the back of your head. Chin isn't jutting up, and the chin is not tucked in. Just that just right spot. So you're leaving a little space. You're leaving that natural curve in the cervical spine. And stay here for 2-3 minutes. And then when you're ready, gently wiggling your fingers and toes. Maybe begin some small movements in the wrists and the ankles in one direction. And then reverse. And reach your arms up. Full body stretch, and then gently hug your knees in towards your chest. And carefully roll over to one side. Pushing your way up, allowing your head to be very heavy and come up last. And then we sit in a comfortable position. We inhale our arms up and overhead. Maybe the palms come together, taking all that beautiful divine energy and holding it and bringing it down to our heart space. Taking a moment here to be thankful for our bodies and the yoga practice. I hope you've enjoyed this quick little restorative video for your yoga practice at home. The light in me salutes and honors the light in you. Namaste.